Hey, rude. Welcome back, YouTube. This is JT Vector Sigma, the Talking Head, with another off-the-shelf episode. I really hope you enjoyed that skit at the beginning there. It's my first attempt at doing technically a red screen effect, not a green screen. I think it didn't turn out too bad for my first attempt. Let's get down to it. I'm here today to talk about Jurassic Park. You probably heard of it. In fact, you might have guessed it. If you didn't read the title, you might have guessed it just by that little skit at the beginning. Where else is that dinosaur roar going to come from? Tyrannosaurus, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm happy to be talking about this book. And I'm not even going to bother issuing a spoiler warning for this episode, simply because this book has been out for like 20 years. The movie has been out for like 20 years, and Jurassic World just came out last year. So if you don't know what happens in one of these stories, you're kind of, let's face it, it's basically people create dinosaurs on an island, dinosaurs get loose, people die. One of the big debates regarding this is which is better, the movie or the book? And the usual consensus is that the book is better. And in this case, I have to agree. The movie is okay, it's a classic, but it has some issues. If you want a complete listing of Jurassic Park's failures, go watch CinemaSins. But for me, mostly what it comes down to is a combination of pacing, plot holes, and just missed chances. So many things that were in the book that could have been put in the movie that just weren't. Like the opening, for example, of the movie, they were transferring a raptor into its cage. In the book, they had somebody going to the hospital who was mauled by a raptor. I can understand that maybe they didn't want to put that in because PG-13 rating and all that blood and gore was probably going to give it an R rating, but at the same time, I feel like giving us that opening, it would have been so much more intense and just setting up the stakes of what might happen to our characters if they get caught by the raptors. Using that intro also would have better introduced us to Costa Rica as being the main setting. They also could have followed that up with the scene of the girl on the beach getting bitten by the little dinosaurs, the Procompsognathids, or whatever the heck they are, compies. They did put a similar scene at the beginning of the second movie, The Lost World. That's the one that had Jeff Goldblum as the main role. That movie kind of sucks, and I'm pretty sure Jurassic World just made it non-canon. So, who cares? They should have put it in this one. About Jeff Goldblum, actually, he played Ian Malcolm in both movies, and he wasn't bad as Ian Malcolm. He did a pretty good job of making the character interesting. It's not the same as it was in the book. In the book, he was just he was almost an asshole to everyone. It was more just about making a point. Also, I feel like it was just a waste of Jeff Goldblum because he'd already been established by that point as being a very good actor. They shoved him into a side role. Why? I'm going to stop talking about the movie because I'm supposed to be talking about the book. The book is pretty good. I love Michael Crichton as an author. I have actually most of his fiction books that he's written. And Jurassic Park is among my favorites of his. The story and the science and everything in this book, it all feels very real, even though it isn't. For example, the DNA in the bugs and whatnot would degrade over time. And I actually looked that up to make sure. I looked it up and I just Googled, Jurassic Park science, and it was just like, here's an article, here's an article, here's an article. Nope, won't work. The article even said that even if they could restructure the DNA and somehow get it to form a chromosome, you wouldn't be able to grow it into a dinosaur because you wouldn't have a dinosaur cell that you can inject the DNA into. Cloning right now is based around the idea of taking the DNA from one organism and putting it into the fertilized zygote of the same species. We don't have dinosaur eggs. We have fossilized dinosaur eggs, but we can't do what they say in the book and construct a realistic dinosaur egg based on those fossils. It just doesn't work that way. So the science in the book and movie is junk. But, I mean, it's still a great story. At least in the book, they don't get saved by a freaking T-Rex coming in out of nowhere. Not to mention, in the book, like I said, they actually did have the dinosaurs escape to the mainland. It's a better setup for a sequel book, which Lost World, the book form of it, didn't technically live up to that. This book also made raptors less threatening before Jurassic World even did that. I mean, people think Raptor Bros and the motorcycle thing is ridiculous, but in the book, they're playing around with juvenile raptors and hiding out in the nest 5 feet away from adults, and nobody dies from it. I also like the character of Nedry better in the book than I did in the movie. In the book, he's still a fat slob, but he's more portrayed as being just slightly overweight rather than completely obese, and more just sloppy than actual horrible person who deserves to die. John Hammond's an asshole in the book, so I can understand why Nedry might do it. Nedry also seems smarter in the book. He doesn't play any jokes on them, none of that ha 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 ha, you didn't say the magic word, or whatever the heck his little gif was there on the computer screen. And when he died, it was actually fairly terrifying. In the movie, I could never get over just how fake the Dilophosauruses looked. Like, usually the dinosaurs in the movie looked really, really good, but the Dilophosaurus, or whatever the heck they are called, they just didn't look right. They looked like overgrown lizards even more than the raptors did. But when he dies in the book, it's actually quite graphic, talking about his guts being spilled and blood and gunk and wishing he would die quickly, something like that. What I'm trying to say here is that this book is good. The story is good, the characters are great, and it just feels nice. It's rounded. It's not too focused on any one aspect of it. Now, previously on these videos, I've rated my books on a scale of 0 to 5, with 0 being it's a terrible book and 5 being it's a great book. That doesn't really work anymore because I don't review terrible books. I'm going to change it from now on. 5 is still the best that a book can be, but 0 is no longer necessarily a bad thing. It's just I have a very neutral feeling about a book at 0. To make things clear, when I said about negatives, your average fan fiction is going to be about a -5. Terrible writing, terrible characterization, terrible plot structuring, and just bad plot overall. I don't know of any book that is that bad that has ever been published. Prove me wrong. Find a book that is that bad that has been published, but I'm pretty sure none have. So on that new scale, Jurassic Park, the book, rates at a 3.5. It's still very fun, but its premise kind of limits its potential. I mean, you're cloning dinosaurs, your science is going to be junk, your facts are going to get screwed up a little bit, but it's dramatic, it's written in a very believable way, the characters are decent, so it really couldn't be any better than it actually is, I don't feel like. So on that ending, Jurassic Park, great! If you like the video, if you like the book, if you like the movie, I don't care what it is you like. If you like something, feel free to leave a like. Click the like button. Click the like button. Don't forget to click subscribe for more of my videos. And also don't forget to check out the links in the description box below. If you have any more complicated opinion, feel free to leave that in the comments section. Also, I mentioned description links, I forgot to say. Don't forget to check out my reaction channel. Love doing those. I'm going to get back into doing those really soon. So, I believe that's everything for this video. I am JT Vector Sigma, the talking head. I keep talking, I keep squawking. All you guys have to do is keep watching. Until next time, bye!